I'm the scariest. No, I'm the scariest. No, I'm the scariest. No, I'm the scariest. Oh, hey, howdy hey, and welcome to Emily's Adventures in Horrorland, my first video review! So, seeing as it's All Hallows Eve, it makes sense to do this review in costume. Can you guess what film I'll be reviewing today? I'd wink if I could, but I can't.
Everyone who loves Halloween started out loving it as a kid. If you were lucky, you got to dress in costume, go trick-or-treating, or just hang out with friends and watch something seasonal.
My friends and I have a few animated favourites that help bring out the fun in this October holiday.
These include, but are not limited to, Hotel Transylvania, Frankenweenie, Corpse Bride, Paranorman, and of course The Nightmare Before Christmas. These films are aimed at children but appeal to older audiences too, with their catchy songs, stunning animation, and exciting storylines. Nightmare Before Christmas is actually set in a place where the residents celebrate Halloween and keep it in their hearts all year round. People often like to attribute this film to Tim Burton, who was the producer, but really it was Henry Selick? It was his directorial vision.
Which brings me to his other film, Coraline. Let's take a look. The film starts with a young girl and her parents moving from Michigan to,
Oregon?
That's the one.
This is Coraline, a spunky young girl who's bored at home with busy parents and no siblings to play with.
Although apparently her parents are still cool enough to let her dye her hair blue.
Coraline is intrigued by a tiny little door in the living room of their house, after a little doll of herself leads her there. Apparently it can shift around between camera cuts. So that night she wriggles through the play tunnel between worlds and finds herself in a much improved version of the new house. The only problem is her other mother, other father, and everyone else for that matter have button eyes. Mildly creepy.
Not to mention difficult to see out of.
Everything's better in the other world. Food is delicious, areas of the Pink Palace are dazzling and fun to explore, the neighbours are tolerable, even Coraline's other parents are more attentive. This is presented in stark contrast to the real world, with its constant drizzle, eccentric neighbours, and how much for a pair of gloves?
Holy hell, that's 16 quid in our money. For that much, I think a pair of gloves should have like a clock on the back, Swiss Army tips, like a heating pad in the palm to keep your coffee warm. Oh my god, I've got to write these down. Look out, patent office. Coffee.
As the film progresses, Coraline learns that this world and the other mother are more dangerous than they appear, especially the other mother. The other mother is a great movie monster. In the book she assumes the form of a taller, spindlier version of Coraline's mother, and looks that way throughout the whole story. In the film, she goes through various transformations, including one which we see her make here. That's bloody hard to do in stop-motion animation. I also think it's diabolical how she sucks the children in by appealing to their wishes and desires, a bit like the child catcher but more sophisticated in her methods than he is. She then threatens to take it all away from Coraline, even her real parents, if she doesn't do what she's told.
As you may or may not know, I prefer to review horror movies. So, is Coraline a horror movie? Well, I think it's about as close as an animated family film is going to get, particularly around the second half.
Coraline has some seriously creepy scenes in it. The protagonist is seen to go through a kind of hubris, going from a snarky prepubescent girl to someone who has to be brave and adult, and fight for the lives of others and herself. Sounds like a horror protagonist to me. As I've mentioned, the director is Henry Selick, a man who knows what he's doing when it comes to creepy stuff for kids.
But this film was based on a book of the same name by Neil Gaiman, which, being a fan of his, I naturally read ages ago.
In the book, Coraline's implied to be much younger, so the experience could seem a lot scarier, relatively speaking. However, by bringing her age up to 12 or so in the film, it adds to the horror she experiences, because she still initially chooses the other world.
She makes a selfish decision and indirectly causes her real parents to come to harm. Mind you, the film has a message for parents as well. Parents, don't be stupid, ignorant, arsehole, workaholic parents, or some spider lady with needle hands will come in and steal your kids away. Oh yeah, you just got told. Now then, as anyone who knows me knows, I love animation.
I can go on for hours about animation if I think it's beautifully done. And this film is not only a fantastic visual spectacle, its attention to detail is phenomenal. The world it creates is so vast and detailed, and look, someone hand-knitted a tiny jumper for that puppet! Om nom 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 nom.
I also love a good scare, and Coraline does that well too. It uses classically creepy things like dolls, children's choirs, creatures from the deepest, darkest depths of the uncanny valley. But to my surprise, I saw it included a bit of body horror too, my favourite.
Black is traditional.
And it even had a few well-crafted jump scares.
All in all, I think this film is great. It knows when to be charming, when to be funny, and when to make you want to jump out of your skin and run into the garden.
You dare disobey your mother!
Incidentally, jumping out of your skin and running into the garden, yeah, not advisable on these cold October-November nights. Just a tip.
Only a few things bothered me about this film. Number 1, using Keith David to voice a helpful cat character when he himself is one of the creepiest actors alive today. 2, some of the things Coraline says.
Almighty, how are my best trolls?
Although, I am British, so I don't know exactly how American kids are speaking nowadays.
And 3, Henry Selick in the deleted scenes part of the DVD.
Song to Coraline. It's great stuff. Didn't work in the film, but you get to see it here.
I don't know what he's doing. You can't just... You can't keep cutting back to yourself like that. It's weird.
Actually, there's no cutting room floor, or there's no film on the floor in this film because we shot it all digitally.
So, all things considered, I give this film 8 jam sandwiches out of 10. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll continue to enjoy my reviews and have a happy Halloween. Now, I'm off to, see my best trolls. Cheerio.
After Button, we followed Mr. Spoon. Button, Button.